Welcome to Stories for Sleep, because we deserve deep, restful nights. Imagine, if you will, a quiet, hidden corner of a world where all things soft and warm live in a place of peace and serenity. The sky is always a gentle shade of lavender. The air smells of vanilla and honeysuckle, and the stars sparkle like diamonds in a velvet night. It is a world where time slows down and everything is calm. It is here, in this quiet corner of the world, that the history of teddy bears began, a history you're about to be a part of. But before we step into that story, let's settle in, shall we? Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in. And as you do, let the weight of the day slip away. Inhale, hold for just a moment, and then exhale gently, feeling the tension of your shoulders, your arms, your legs just melt away. The world outside may be busy, but here, in this space, it is peaceful and safe. Now, let your mind drift. Imagine that with each breath you take, you are growing lighter and softer, like the clouds that float across that lavender sky, drifting slowly without hurry. You are in a place where there is nothing but comfort, nothing but warmth, nothing but the tender feeling of being held. And as you exhale, imagine your body sinking into the softest of pillows, enveloped in a blanket woven from dreams. Breathe in again, deeply, feeling your chest rise and fall. And as you breathe out, imagine a soft golden light surrounding you, wrapping you in a warmth so gentle that it feels like the embrace of a long-forgotten lullaby. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breath steadies, and your heart beats slower and softer. The air here is filled with nothing but peace. Now let's take one more deep breath together. Inhale through your nose, filling your lungs with all the calm that surrounds you. Hold it, and then exhale through your mouth, releasing all the weight of the world. With each breath, you become more and more at ease, and more ready to listen to the story unfolding just for you. Here, in the stillness, you are safe. And here, in the warmth of this place, we begin the tale of a beloved companion. One who has shared the quietest, most tender moments with you throughout your life, the teddy bear. Are you ready? In the deep, soft shadows of the world, there are places that no one can see, hidden nooks where the hearts of teddy bears rest, waiting for their turn to enter the world of humans. These places are like gardens, lush and fragrant, where the seeds of these plush creatures are sown. The sun here is golden and warm, and the air smells faintly of childhood dreams. Is here where time moves gently that our story begins. The teddy bear, as you may know, is no ordinary companion. He or she has been a constant presence in the lives of countless children. A steady friend through nights of fear and days of play. But where did they come from? What secret world did they spring from before they made their way into our homes, to rest on our beds, to sit in our arms, to listen to our whispers and share our secrets? This story begins long, long ago, in a land far away from where you might imagine. In fact, this world was hidden behind the ordinary, a place where soft whispers filled the air and where teddy bears would grow into being, each with its own story to tell. In this world, teddy bears were not just toys. They were guardians of dreams, protectors of sleepy children, and companions for those who needed comfort. These bears were created from the finest materials, velvets, silks, and cotton so soft it felt like the touch of a cloud. But more than the fabric, it was the magic that made them special. These bears were filled with warmth, not just in their stuffing, but in their very hearts. Their mission was simple, yet profound: to be there when their children needed them the most. Now, let's take a step back in time, a little more than a century ago. Imagine a quiet night, with the glow of candlelight flickering gently across a room where a little girl lay tucked under a cozy quilt. Her name was Rose, and like many children of her time, she had a heart full of wonder in a mind that danced with dreams. But unlike many others, Rose had something very special in her room. A bear. This bear, unlike any toy she had ever known, was soft as a whisper, with golden fur that glowed in the dim light of her candle. He had button eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of 1,000 years, and a little stitched nose that looked like it had been kissed by magic. Rose had named him Theodore, though she called him Teddy most of the time, and Teddy, with his warm, kind heart, was her most trusted friend. And this particular night, as Rose lay under her quilt, drifting between wakefulness and sleep, she could feel the weight of the world pressing gently upon her. The stories of her day swirled in her mind, but there was one story, one question that kept tugging at her thoughts. Where did Teddy come from? For hours, Rose had wondered. She had always known that Teddy was special, but she had never truly asked where he came from or how he had come to be. She thought perhaps that one night, if she were very quiet and very still, he might tell her himself. As she lay there, the soft creak of the floorboards in the hallway seemed to fade away, and the only sound in the room was the gentle rhythm of her own breathing. But then her surprise, a voice, faint as a breeze, whispered in her ear. "Rose," the voice said, "would you like to hear the story of how I came to you?" Rose's eyes fluttered open, wide with surprise. She looked at Teddy, who was sitting quietly by her bedside, his button eyes reflecting the soft glow of the candlelight. "I can speak," Teddy continued, his voice soft and comforting, "but only when you are ready to listen." With a gasp, Rose sat up, pulling her quilt tighter around her, her heart racing with excitement. You can talk," she whispered, unsure if she was dreaming or if it was truly Teddy's voice that she heard. "I can," said Teddy, "and it's time for you to know my story, dear Rose. I come from a place very far from here, a land of softness and magic, a place where the stars whisper lullabies and the air smells of dreams." And with that, Teddy began to tell Rose the story of how he had been made, how the first teddy bears were born in a hidden workshop, where skilled hands and loving hearts had crafted each one, filling them with warmth and magic. He told her how, long ago, there was a great need for love in the world, and so teddy bears were created to bring that love to the children who needed it most. They were born from love, and that love would stay with them, guiding them on their journey through the world. Rose listened intently, her heart swelling with wonder, as Teddy's voice wove the tale of his origins, of how, across time, he had traveled from the hands of a gentle creator, through the rooms of quiet homes, to rest beside children like Rose, offering them comfort when they needed it most. But just as the story was becoming clearer, something in the air shifted. The room grew quieter, the air thicker with the weight of unspoken words. Teddy's eyes glistened with a quiet knowing. "There is more, Rose," he said softly, "but not tonight. Not yet. The story is still unfolding, and your part in it has yet to come." With that, the room grew still again. Rose, in the warmth of her bed, felt a gentle peace wash over her. She smiled softly, a heart full of love for her bear, the one who had spoken of magic and wonder, the one who had brought comfort to her sleepy heart. As her eyelids grew heavy and the stars outside blinked softly in the night sky, Rose whispered, "Thank you, Teddy. Thank you for being here." And with that, she drifted into sleep, her teddy bear resting by her side, ready to guard her dreams and share more of the sleepy history of teddy bears when the time was right. Rose's eyes fluttered open as the first rays of morning light filtered softly through her window. The golden hue of the sun bathed the room in warmth, and for a moment she forgot where she was, until she looked beside her and saw Teddy. He was sitting there, just as he had been the night before, with his soft golden fur and his button eyes that seemed to gleam with a knowing smile. Last night, he had told her his story. Well, part of it, at least. and Rose had drifted off to sleep, filled with wonder. But now, she felt the need to hear more. What had happened next? Where had Teddy come from? What adventures had he been a part of before he found his way to her side? The house was still quiet, and Rose sat up, pulling the blanket closer around her shoulders. She reached out to gently touch Teddy's paw, as if asking for permission to continue. It was as though she could feel a soft hum of warmth radiating from him, a silent agreement. He was ready to share more. "Good morning, Teddy," Rose whispered, her voice soft and full of affection. "Can you tell me more about where you came from?" Teddy's button eyes glistened, as though he was waiting for her to ask. Then, with a gentle sigh that seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 soft, loving memories, he began. "I told you last night that I come from a place of magic and dreams," he said, his voice as soft as the night wind. "But what I didn't tell you was where that place truly is, or how it came to be." Rose leaned in closer, her curiosity piqued. She held her breath, eager to learn the next part of the story. "You see, Rose," Teddy continued, "many years ago, before there were any teddy bears, the world was a different place. There was a time when children had nothing to comfort them at night, nothing to hold when they felt scared or lonely. The nights were long and full of shadows, and those shadows seemed to grow larger in the absence of love and comfort. Somewhere in the heart of the world, deep in a valley, hidden away from all eyes, there was a special garden, a garden of softness, of warmth, and of love. It was not a place that could be seen with human eyes, but if you listened closely, if you were very still, you might hear the faint sound of a lullaby, the sound of tiny footsteps, and the rustle of something plush moving through the tall grass. Rose's eyes widened as she pictured this magical garden, a place she had never seen but felt she knew in her heart. She could almost hear the lullaby Teddy spoke of, and the soft footsteps that danced through the grass. It was a place that existed only in dreams, until one fateful day when the heart of the garden stirred with a special purpose. "A long, long time ago," Teddy went on, "there was a great need in the world for love. It wasn't that love had disappeared. It was just that there were so many children who had no one to hold them through the dark. The world was changing, becoming busier and louder, and many of the old ways of comfort had been forgotten. But in the heart of the garden, the plants and flowers sensed this. They could feel the sadness in the air, and they decided to do something about it." Rose sat in silence, her heart racing with excitement. She could already tell this was going to be a story like no other. flowers in the garden, Teddy continued, began to bloom with a special magic, and from their petals, the first teddy bears began to emerge. These bears were not like the ones you see today, my dear Rose. They were filled with the softest, most comforting magic, a magic that could heal a child's heart, bring them peace when they were afraid, and be a true companion in times of need. But how did they know how to do that? Rose asked, her voice a whisper. Teddy smiled gently. Ah, that is the heart of the story, Rose. You see, the garden's magic didn't just make them soft or give them comforting warmth. It gave them hearts, hearts full of love, hearts that could feel and understand. Each bear was born with a small seed of magic inside them, a seed that could grow with the love they received. That love would become the most important thing they would carry with them, for it would be through love that they could help children, and through love that they would one day come to you. Rose's eyes sparkled with wonder, and she lay back against her pillow, imagining the bears emerging from the magical garden, their soft forms cradled by the warmth of the world around them. But how did they get to the children? Rose asked softly, her voice filled with awe. Ah, now we come to the part of the story that has been passed down from bear to bear. Teddy said, lowering his voice as if sharing a great secret. For you see, when the first bears were born, they didn't immediately know how to reach the children. They could feel the love inside them, but they didn't know where to go or whom to help. So they waited quietly in the garden, and for many years they simply grew and learned from the magic that surrounded them. But one day, everything changed. Rose's eyes fluttered shut as she listened to Teddy's words, but she stayed still, focused, knowing that this was the moment when everything was about to shift. There was a great storm, Teddy said, a storm like no other, a storm that shook the very foundation of the garden. The wind howled like a lost spirit, the rain fell in sheets, and the thunder cracked like 1,000 voices calling out for help. In the midst of the storm, the garden's magic stirred, and for the first time, the bears understood. They understood that their purpose was not just to exist in a hidden world of softness and dreams. They were meant to travel beyond the garden and find the children who needed them. Rose sat up, her heart pounding in anticipation. And so, Teddy continued, his voice growing even softer. The first bear set off on a journey, traveling through the winds and the rain, guided by the hearts of children everywhere. They didn't know where they were going at first, but they felt the pull, the tug of those hearts in need of comfort. They traveled far and wide through cities and villages to the farthest corners of the earth, and wherever they went, they found children who needed them, children who had no one to hold them at night, children who had lost their way, children who were lonely or scared or sad. "Were they scared?" Rose whispered. "Perhaps," Teddy said gently, but they knew that the love inside them was stronger than any fear. They knew that their mission was one of the most important missions there was. To be there for those children, to offer comfort, to bring peace. And so they did, and they traveled far and wide, each bear carrying with them the magic of the garden, the magic of love. Rose could hardly contain her excitement. She could picture it so clearly. Teddy bears, soft and full of love, traveling through rainstorms and over hills, bringing comfort to children everywhere. "And that," Teddy said softly, "is how the bears began their journey. But the real magic, Rose, is that they never stopped." Each bear, in their own way, continues to travel, continues to offer comfort, and continues to find new children in need of their warmth and love. And so, when the time came for me to find you, I knew exactly where to go. I had already traveled through countless dreams, through years of memories, and when I finally found you, I knew that I had come home. Rose felt a warmth in her chest as she listened to Teddy's words. She could feel the love in his voice, the depth of the magic that connected them, and in that moment, she knew that she would never be alone as long as Teddy was by her side. "You're my friend," she whispered softly, "and you've been with me all along." Teddy smiled softly, his button eyes gleaming in the morning light. "Always, dear Rose," he said, "always." The sun had long risen, casting a soft glow through the curtains of Rose's room, but she had not yet stirred from her bed. Instead, she lay quietly, curled up under her quilt, with Teddy resting beside her. The morning had come, but she still felt the weight of the story in the air, its quiet magic wrapping around her like the softest of blankets. She had always loved stories, but none had felt quite like this one. It was as though each word Teddy spoke carried not only the echo of the past, but also a promise for the future, a promise that no matter what happened, the warmth and love of teddy bears would always be there. The thought brought a smile to her lips as she turned her head to look at him once more. Teddy, with his golden fur and stitched smile, sat in silence as if waiting for her to ask the next question. And Rose, though still filled with wonder, felt an unspoken bond with her bear. It was as if the history of the world had unfolded in his stories, and now it was time for the next chapter. "Teddy," she whispered, her voice soft as if afraid to disturb the quiet beauty of the moment. "How did the bears find their way to the children? And how did they know who needed them most?" Teddy's button eyes gleamed as he listened to her, his own heart swelling with affection. His voice, when it came, was soft and comforting as always, but this time it held a deeper, older resonance, as though it carried the wisdom of many years, of many journeys. "Ah, my dear Rose," he began, his voice filled with a kind warmth that seemed to fill the room. The bears always knew how to find their way. It was never about distance or time. It was about love. The love inside us is the compass that guides us, the map that leads us to the children who need us most. And it is the same love that has always been passed from bear to bear across the ages. Rose blinked slowly, her eyes growing heavier as she listened. She could feel the tenderness of Teddy's words wrapping around her like a cocoon. It is not always the loudest voices or the brightest lights that need us most, Teddy continued, but the quiet ones, the ones who are forgotten, who are lost in the shadows of their own hearts. Those are the ones we search for, the ones whose hearts are most in need of our warmth. Sometimes it's not a matter of finding them, it's a matter of knowing they're out there, somewhere, waiting for us. "Do you mean that we can always find someone who needs us?" Rose asked softly, a hint of awe in her voice. Teddy nodded, his button eyes glistening. "Yes, Rose, that's the true magic of the bears. We don't just find children who are sad or scared. We find the ones who need something more, someone to remind them that they are loved no matter what. And when we find them, we become a part of their story. We offer them the gift of warmth, of comfort, and of love that never fades." Rose felt a flutter of emotion in her chest as she thought about the children who might be out there, children who needed comfort, who needed someone to hold them through the dark, just as Teddy had done for her. She had never considered how far-reaching the magic of teddy bears could be. "Where did you go after you found me?" Rose asked, her voice full of wonder. "What happened to the bears who helped all the children?" "Ah," Teddy said, "this is the part of the story that not many people know. The first bears, the ones born in the garden, began to travel far and wide, bringing comfort wherever they went. They moved across countries, through forests, across mountains, and through cities bustling with life. Wherever there was a child in need of comfort, a bear would be there." Teddy paused for a moment, his voice growing softer, as if he were remembering something far away, something long ago. But as the years passed, something began to change. The world became faster, busier, and children started to be surrounded by so many things, machines, gadgets, and distractions that filled their lives in ways that didn't leave much room for tenderness. But in the quiet moments, when the day's noise faded and the stars twinkled above, the bears still found their way into children's hearts. Rose listened intently, her gaze fixed on Teddy as if willing him to continue. Over time, Teddy went on, the bears learned that their role was not just to be there in the physical sense. We didn't just comfort children by being near them. We became part of their dreams, part of their memories. Every time a child hugged their teddy bear tight, every time they whispered their secrets or spoke their fears into the night, the bear became a part of their story, forever imprinted in the heart. Rose's mind swirled with this new information. It was so much more than she had ever realized. Teddy was not just a bear. He was a keeper of memories, a constant in the ever-changing flow of time. She could feel the depth of what Teddy was saying, the truth behind his words. But, Teddy said softly, the bears did not travel alone. For you see, when we first set out on our journeys, we were not always sure where we were going, or even how to help. But soon, we realized that there were others, other creatures, other spirits who lived within the dreams of children, whose role was just as important as ours. The stars, Rose, the stars themselves. They are the true guides for every bear who walks through the world. Rose furrowed her brow, puzzled. The stars? She asked. How could the stars help? Teddy smiled, his eyes soft with the wisdom of countless nights. Ah, dear one, you see, the stars have always been there to guide us. When the first bears set out on their journey, they would look to the night sky, and there, among the stars, they would find a path. The stars whispered secrets of the world, where to go, who to help, and when to rest. The stars were the true guardians of the journey. Rose was silent for a moment, imagining the vast, dark sky above and the twinkling stars that had been guiding the bears for as long as they had existed. She could almost see them now, stars twinkling softly like little beacons in the night, lighting the way for those who needed love and comfort. You see, Teddy continued, the stars were always there to remind the bears that they were not alone, that they were part of something much larger than themselves. The stars gave them the strength to keep going, even when the path was difficult, even when they had to travel through long nights and endless journeys. The stars whispered to the bears, and the bears listened, always guided by their light. Rose could feel her heart swell as she listened to Teddy's words. It was as though she had been transported into the very night sky, soaring with the bears and the stars. The magic of it all filled her soul, and she closed her eyes, letting the story wash over her like a wave. And even now, Teddy added softly, we still listen to the stars. They are always there, twinkling in the sky, waiting to guide us to the next child who needs us. As long as there are children, and as long as there are hearts that need healing, the stars will keep shining, and we will keep searching, offering warmth, love, and comfort. Rose sighed softly, her heart full. It was as if the universe itself had conspired to make sure that children, no matter where they were, would always have someone to comfort them, and that someone was a teddy bear, guided by the stars, carrying the love and warmth that could never be extinguished. Teddy's voice grew quieter, the words becoming a soft, soothing hum. "The bears are always here, Rose. Whenever you need us, we will be by your side. And when you look up at the stars, remember, they are our guides, just as they are yours." As the warmth of Teddy's words filled the room, Rose felt the heaviness of sleep begin to settle over her. Her eyelids grew heavier, and she let the soft magic of the story pull her deeper into the quiet embrace of slumber. But even as she drifted off to sleep, she knew one thing for certain. She would never again look at the stars the same way. Now every twinkle, every flicker in the night sky would remind her of the bears, those gentle, loving guardians who traveled with the stars, forever whispering their comfort to the hearts of children. And as Rose closed her eyes, Teddy sat quietly beside her, watching over her with a heart full of love, ready to guard her dreams, just as he had always done. The room was bathed in the soft golden light of the late afternoon, casting long shadows across the walls. Rose, still cradling Teddy in her arms, felt the warmth of the sun on her skin. Her eyes were heavy, but the magic of the story had carried her deeper into a world where every word felt like a thread, connecting her heart to the past. She looked at Teddy, his golden fur shimmering slightly in the sunlight. The soft fabric of his body seemed to hold not just the magic of dreams, but the weight of countless stories, the stories of the children he had comforted, the journeys he had taken, and the love he had shared. Teddy had already told her so much of the magical garden where he and his fellow bears had been born, of the whispers of the stars that guided them through the darkness, and of their endless search for children in need of warmth. But Rose could sense that there was more to the story, something deeper, something that would help her understand the very essence of what it meant to be a teddy bear. She sat up a little straighter, careful not to disturb Teddy too much. "Teddy," she whispered, her voice soft and curious. "What does it really mean to be a bear? To be the one that children turn to when they need comfort? What makes us so special?" Teddy's button eyes gleamed, and he settled a little more comfortably beside her, as though he were preparing to share something both profound and timeless. "Ah, my dear Rose," he said, his voice a warm, familiar hum. "That is the heart of the story. The true magic of the bears is not just in our soft bodies or the comfort we provide, but in the love we carry inside us, the love we give to others, and the love we receive in return. It is in the bond we form with the children who hold us, the bond that becomes part of both of us, intertwining our hearts forever." Rose listened intently, her breath slowing, as if she knew this would be the moment when everything about the magic of teddy bears would truly come alive for her. "You see, Rose," Teddy continued, "every bear is born with a special gift. It's a gift that has been passed down through generations of bears. It's the gift of understanding. When a child holds their teddy bear, they are not just holding a soft companion. They are holding something that understands them, truly understands them. We know their fears, their joys, their deepest wishes, and their quietest moments. We carry their dreams with us, and we share in their hopes, their fears, and their growth. Rose's heart stirred as she thought about the times when she had held Teddy tight, when she had whispered her fears, her worries, or simply her thoughts, knowing that Teddy would always listen without judgment. He was her friend, her confidant, her silent companion. But how do we know what they feel? Rose asked, her voice filled with wonder. It is the magic of love, Rose, Teddy replied gently. The love inside us connects us to the hearts of those we care for. When a bear is held close, when a child's arms wrap around us, something beautiful happens. The love that the child gives us flows into our hearts, and it fills us up. And in turn, we give them our love, our comfort, and our warmth. It's a cycle, a gentle, continuous exchange that never stops. Teddy paused for a moment, and Rose could almost hear the quiet hum of that love, a love that never needed to be spoken, but could always be felt. This love, Teddy continued, it is not just a simple feeling. It is the thread that binds everything together. It is what allows us to understand the unspoken, to sense when something is wrong, to know when a child needs comfort even before they realize it themselves. We are the silent guardians of their dreams, the quiet keepers of their hearts. Rose felt the weight of Teddy's words settle deep in her chest. She had always known in some part of her heart that there was something more to her bear than just a cuddly toy. Teddy had been with her for as long as she could remember, always there to hold, to comfort, to listen. But now, as she listened to his voice, she understood something deeper, that he was not just a bear. He was her guardian, her friend, and her protector, woven into the fabric of her memories and her dreams. But, Rose said, her voice a soft whisper, why do we need bears? Why do we need something to hold, to talk to confide in? Why can't we just face our fears on our own? Teddy's eyes softened, his gaze holding a depth of understanding that only a bear with a lifetime of memories could possess. Ah, Rose, that is a question many have asked over the years. You see, no one is meant to face their fears alone. We all have moments of doubt, moments when the world feels too big, too overwhelming. And in those moments, we need something to remind us that we are not alone, that we are loved, and that we are capable of facing the challenges that lie ahead. A bear does not simply offer comfort, it offers companionship. It reminds the child that they are strong, that they are safe, and that they are loved. Rose nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the little golden bear sitting beside her. Teddy had never asked for anything in return for his companionship. He had always been there, waiting for her to reach out, to hug him, to lean on him when the world felt too heavy. He was a constant, a source of strength. "Teddy," Rose said, her voice quiet but filled with a deep affection, "I don't know what I would do without you. You've always been here for me, and I always will be, dear Rose," Teddy replied, his voice warm and steady. "You see, the bond between a bear and a child is eternal. No matter where life takes you, no matter how far apart we may be, our hearts are forever intertwined. The love that we share cannot be broken. It is a promise that we make to each other, a promise that transcends time and distance." Rose closed her eyes for a moment, letting Teddy's words wash over her. She felt something deep and powerful stir within her, a sense of connection, of comfort, of being held, not just by Teddy, but by the very love that had created him. And in that moment, she realized something important. The magic of teddy bears was not just in the comfort they offered, nor in the soft, huggable bodies they wore. The true magic of teddy bears lay in the love they shared with the children they were destined to protect. And that love, quiet, constant, unwavering, was the greatest magic of all. Teddy sat beside her, his soft golden fur gently shifting in the light. "Rose," he said, "you are never alone. Whenever you need me, I will be here. And when you grow up, when the world changes, remember this. No matter how much time passes, the love between us will always remain. Just as I will always be your bear, you will always be my child." Rose smiled softly, feeling a tear slip down her cheek. It wasn't a sad tear, but a tear of gratitude, a tear of understanding. She hugged Teddy close, feeling his warmth surround her. "I love you, Teddy," she whispered. "Thank you for always being here." Teddy's soft button eyes glistened with the same love he had carried through countless dreams and adventures. "And I love you, Rose," he whispered back, "always." The evening had come, bringing with it a soft and peaceful quiet, the kind of stillness that only a night could bring. Rose lay in her bed, her head resting gently on her pillow, with Teddy nestled beside her, as he always had been. The room was dimly lit by the golden light of the fading sun, which had just begun to sink behind the horizon. The shadows it cast seemed to wrap around Rose in a warm embrace. Tonight felt different. The gentle weight of the blanket, the soft presence of Teddy beside her, and the quiet humming of the night outside seemed to merge together into something more, a sense that the world was at peace, that all was as it should be. Rose shifted slightly, her hand gently brushing the soft fur of her bear, and for a moment she let herself feel the quiet pull of the world beyond her room. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, and the stars had begun to twinkle in the sky. But here, in this little space, all was calm. She felt safe, cherished, and loved, as if she was surrounded by an invisible warmth that nothing could extinguish. Teddy, too, seemed at peace. His golden fur glowed softly in the half-light, his button eyes fixed gently on Rose, as though he were waiting for her to ask one final question. And for Rose, it was as if the story had been guiding her to this very moment. this last piece of the puzzle, where everything would fall into place. "Teddy," Rose whispered, her voice gentle and full of wonder, "is there anything else I should know about you, about the bears, about the magic we share?" Teddy smiled, his button eyes gleaming in the soft light. "You don't have to worry, Rose. You will never forget me. I will always be with you, in the memories we've shared, in the love we've given each other. Every time you close your eyes, I will be there beside you, just as I am now. And whenever you need me, I will be waiting for you, ready to offer comfort and love, just as I've always done." Rose's eyes grew heavy as the warmth of Teddy's words filled her heart. She could feel the deep, unbreakable bond between them, the promise of love that would never fade. It was a quiet kind of magic, one that didn't rely on grand gestures or loud proclamations, but rather on the steady, constant presence of a love that could weather any storm. "Teddy," Rose said softly, her voice almost a whisper, "thank you for everything, for always being here for me." Teddy's heart swelled with affection as he gently nuzzled her hand. "There is no need to thank me, Rose. It has been my honor to be with you, to be your bear, and I will always be here in your heart." Rose let out a contented sigh, her eyelids fluttering closed as she drifted closer to sleep. The soft sound of Teddy's voice continued to fill the room, a comforting lullaby that seemed to wrap her in its warmth. "And remember, Rose," Teddy whispered one last time, "no matter where you go, no matter how far you travel, you are never truly alone, for you carry a piece of me with you always, and I will carry a piece of you." And with that, the room grew still, the only sound the soft rustling of the night outside. Rose's breathing slowed, her body sinking deeper into the warmth of the blankets, and Teddy sat quietly beside her, watching over her with a heart full of love. As she drifted into the peaceful realm of dreams, she could feel Teddy's presence beside her, a gentle reminder that the love between them would never fade. The bond they shared was eternal, woven into the very fabric of her soul. And as the stars twinkled above, she knew, just as Teddy had promised, that no matter where life would take her, she would always have the love of her bear to guide her. Good night, Rose. Sweet dreams, my dear. Always remember, love never fades.